Yeah. Shit, fam, you right. What is this? What is this am I looking at? Why? Hello, assalamualaikum, and good evening, everyone. It is I, Nick Sulaiman, eternal college student, and now, thank you all for coming to tonight's podcast. I know it's the first podcast I've done in a while in the year of our Lord 2021, but it's going to be a pretty interesting one because we are going to have uh, some very interesting guests from very interesting parts of the world. First off, we have recurring guest and D&D master, Ryan. Ryan, say hello.
Hello.
Great. All right. And then we have our very own underground kopitiam owner slash Vroid seamstress, Amanda Alywen.
Hi. it's been a while since I've been on air. In general.
I know it's been a while since I've been on
Great.
air as well. Which probably isn't the most reassuring thing you've ever heard before being on a show for the first time in a while. But hey, what do you know?
Well, hi. Yeah.
All right, so for tonight's stream, which I've deemed to call creative writing, skimming the surface, we are pretty much going to be looking into the bare basics of creative writing, whatever is it, and exploring it as to the types of writers there are in the world, and also what kind of writers we are in general, among other things. So, let's start us off with what exactly is creative writing?
You had to
Oh,
start
man.
abroad, didn't you?
Yeah, you just had to blast it wide open and then make it difficult for us to even answer that.
All right, okay. You know what?
All right.
Let's make it simple. Ryan first because he's the technically he's a veteran guest on the show, and then we go with
right.
Amanda.
All right.
All right.
So, creative writing. All right. You know all that history stuff. You know, your catalog. No, none of that. None of that. All right. This is mostly fiction we're talking about here. Um, we're talking like sci-fi, fantasy, and even some, historical fiction if you really want to go that route. I mean, there's some great history to pull from if you really want to go for it, but we'll get into that later. Uh, Pretty much, as long as you are creating whatever you want and it isn't completely based in reality, I'd say that's creative writing.
Very well.
Or at least it isn't page by page copying reality.
Yeah, I think that will be the realm of another form of fiction, but we'll get into that later. So, Amanda, how about you? What is creative
I
writing?
mean, yeah, I guess it just basically helped to sort of like define the boundaries of what creative writing is. It's more of like it is not like it creative writing is more of like defined by what it is not rather than by what it is, like in that sense, because anything can be creative. Like as long as you've basically made up something about your own day already, rather than by like giving it a very objective view. I guess that's already creative in
It's
that sense.
so broad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It is very broad. To me personally, creative writing, uh, I think, while it is pretty much every like easier to describe what it isn't than what it is. I believe that there is a difference between writing creatively and using creativity to write, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like when it comes to creative writing, I mean, sure, all forms of writing are creative in a sense that you are the creator and whatever it is you write is a product. Although of course, if you want to go that broad, that pretty much means every single piece of writing in existence is creative writing. So, which
Right? We could encompass everything.
no, yeah, that this is why I'm going to propose a distinction. To me, to me, in my opinion, that I believe should be put uh, for for what is defined as creative writing. It would have to be writing for the express purpose of creative expression, because
I like that.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
like that definition. Because there is another side to that. There is how you're writing in the first place. Which I mean, you could write the blandest thing in the world, and and by the rules of what I gave it earlier, it would still be creative writing as long as you didn't, create I don't know, a recount of World War II, you know? So, I mean, back to this expression. I kind of don't like this expression, but I use it quite often. The book is, or whatever you're writing, the page is your canvas to put down a whole bunch of words in an artistic way that suits you. And everyone has their way of doing that. Um, and again, it also depends on what exactly you want to write, but that has a lot of artistic style and creativity to it.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense also because if we're looking at some of the works that are written historically also, like say for instance Romance of the Three Kingdoms, like although it is based on reality, it is well creative in that sense, but the records that were actually it was actually based on is not entirely 100% accurate. It sort of has like a little bit of the if we're gonna go deep in that route, it has a little bit of that political agenda attached to it because it was trying to paint like a picture of like how the Shu Kingdom is actually more of like this like victimized um country rather than like the more versus the ruthless Wei Kingdom as well. So it's like oh sorry, hang on.
it's okay. While we're waiting for Amanda to deal with this slight technical interruption, hello Murasaki Kiri, welcome to the stream. Yarasai konbanwa. Yes, I see you there.
Technical interruption.
Technical
That
interruption.
makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
I feel like that's a more professional way to refer to people barging into your room while you're streaming.
It is a technical difficulty. Have you tried turning them off and on again?
I don't know. I don't know. Turning people on and off seems to be the realm of soul manipulation, which isn't really my specialty.
All right, listen, hear me out.
All
All
right,
right,
okay.
necromancers are just tech support for life.
Yeah, and yes, Murasaki, creative writing. We haven't really went too far into it. We literally just started. We were just discussing on what exactly can be defined as creative writing. Which so far we have somewhat come to the agreement that creative writing, the distinction between that and any kind of form of writing is writing with the intent of creative expression, as opposed to writing creatively. I say that because on top of the reasons given by Ryan and Amanda, you can write a piece of a piece of a news article, or maybe even a literary article for a science journal, in a very engaging and creative manner, because you do need to be original, and you cannot be original without some creative spark in it. But you do not necessarily refer to a lengthy science journal or a news article as creative writing. Because
Again,
yeah,
it's two sides of a coin here, right? Like, I don't generally view news articles as creative writing, but sometimes you do have to write, in a sense, creatively to actually engage your audience in such a thing.
yes, exactly. Like, right. Okay. It turns out Amanda had to deal with her dog freaking out. So we'll wait a bit before they come back.
Hey, dogs are technical difficulties as well.
True. So are cats.
There's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, though.
Indeed. Sometimes just locking them out of your room while you're doing something isn't enough.
I mean, do you throw the chew toy, or does that make it worse?
Not necessarily, not really sure, because I don't own a dog and I have never taken care of one.
Me neither. A cat. You just pick up the cat, right? But sometimes the dog's too big. Yeah.
Yeah, like for a cat, sometimes you pick it up, but then the battle becomes less of a physical one and more of a mental fortitude, as you're trying to, as you're trying to combat the cute kitty eyes that it starts throwing at you when you start to remove
okay,
it from the
fair
room.
enough. That is a dagger to the heart.
Or when it starts meowing, demanding that it wants to stay.
By the way, back on topic. Do we think we've defined creative writing yet? Do we?
I feel like we have, but Amanda hasn't come back yet.
I'm just asking the question because I'm wondering. Hey,
Hey,
there we go.
speak of
Sorry
the
about
devil,
that.
and
That
here
was-
she comes.
That was yeah, actually my dog couldn't decide whether she wanted to go out or not. And so yeah, I just had a situation where I was like, are you going out? Are you not going out? Do you wanna pee or do you not want to pee? So a lot of back and forth over there. Sorry about that.
You're all good.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Like, I mean, in the realm of creative writing, even something like, say, Amanda's experience with a dog can, in and of itself, become a spark to a story.
Yeah, dog was actually fighting against a demon on the outside, but then at the same time, kind of like decided to retreat back and then ask for reinforcements. But then the demon disappeared as well, and well,
And
yeah.
that, folks, is our new light novel title. Thank you very much. But
Hey, I mean, when it comes to creativity, the witching hours, well, not that it's close to said witching hours anyway, it's usually prime time for creative expression to come out
Ah.
as well. So,
True, life
Yes,
experience plays a huge part in it. It's true.
yeah, indeed. Like I forgot.
Not sure if a dog will
Sorry.
do that, but hey.
I mean, yeah, sure. Like I forgot who said. I forgot who said it. Like maybe it was Hemingway uh, or or was it? I don't know. Or was it Shakespeare? I forgot. But basically, in order for you to write fiction, you need to live in reality.
yes, I actually completely agree with that statement.
Yeah,
I find
yeah.
that when comparing the works that I've actually okay, so word of admission, I have written fan fiction before. Uh, but I guess okay, I don't know whether that should even be a thing that you should hold with pride or not, but yeah,
Hey,
I wrote.
no, some of that stuff. All right, listen. Bad rep, fan fiction gets a bad rep. All right, and for
Hello, Kiwami.
admittedly a good reason, because wow, there's some stuff in there. But you can also write really good stuff too. So hey,
True, true, true. And
Yeah, that's
also,
true.
welcome to the stream, Kiwami. Hope you have a good time. We're just discussing dark history with creative writing.
Yeah, hello Kiyomi.
we have both delved into quote unquote dark history.
Yes, I know.
With fan fiction.
I mean, it's okay, Amanda. There's no need to be embarrassed. In fact, I'll admit, I have dabbled in writing fan fiction. In fact, like at some point in my life, that is pretty much how I came to know Ryan. Believe it or not.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, that was a turn of fate right there.
Yeah, that was pretty much a turn of fate. I mean, hey, if people can meet each other and get married because of fan fiction, why not a friendship?
Yeah.
Never heard of that first one, but okay.
Oh,
Yeah, same.
The first one is actually all right, okay. Now I'm going to start to nerd out a bit, but this was back when I was more of an avid reader than I was a writer of fan fiction. I was pretty big into Black Lagoon and its subsequent crossovers with a lot of different things. And it was there I found out that that one of my favorite authors who wrote this crossover between Black Lagoon and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre pretty much hooked up with this other person who wrote Black Lagoon fanfiction. And then next thing I knew, they both collectively changed their profile info to inform everyone they got married.
Ow.
Wow.
All right, so I feel like this is a good time to mention that I am straight.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. Got that out of the way.
All right, pop off king.
Sorry, Nix.
Okay.
I'm not sure at what point in an entire arc of the story that suggested anything homosexual or otherwise.
Love you.
But okay.
Well, no, it was just budding romance, all right? Two people being on fanfiction.net. No.
All right. Shut up before I have to hand you a shovel to dig your own grave with.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. Okay. So, like, all of us, like, apparently, as we have now recently established, apparently, have had experiences with fanfiction, and much like what Ryan said, fanfiction often gets a bad rep. If you want to clip it, sorry, this isn't Twitch. You can't just just clip things unless you want to record it or wait for the VOD to come up later.
Or rather,
It
you
won't
just
stop
download.
them from trying.
Yeah.
Won't stop them from trying, yes. But hey, I'm pretty sure the VOD will be up by the time the stream ends. So, in the words of the guy who kidnapped Liam Neeson's daughter in Taken, good luck. All right, so back on track. Fanfiction often gets a bad rep, understandably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yeah, understandably so, because like when it comes to fan fiction, at least back in the heyday when at least when I used to really get into it, you had the big two, which then expanded into the big three, namely fanfiction.net, AO3, and Wattpad. AO3, by the way, is short form for, I think,
Archive of our
yeah,
own.
Archive of Our Own. Yes, there's an interesting history behind the founding of AO3, but that's a story for another time. So, big three websites people usually go to for fanfiction. I know space battles exist, but again, that's a story for another time. So, should anyone be interested in fanfiction, that is usually the place for people to go. And coincidentally, that was where I got my start in fanfiction as well, and fanfiction.net. The thing is, sure, fanfiction does get a bad rep. And very understandably so. Sometimes you don't even need to look at the memes to laugh at bad fanfiction. All you really have to do is pay a quick visit and don't even bother with figuring out how to sort through stuff. And even then, even some of the highly rated ones aren't well written.
Yeah, and I guess back in those days, the biggest quote unquote offender, or rather that trope offender for this would be the Mary Sue. Like basically characters that are just way too overpowered. More often than not, also probably a self-insert, and then just told in a way that is like it's more for the enjoyment of the writer rather than the enjoyment of the reader.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've written those. Not the Mary Sue part, but I've definitely written the for the enjoyment of the author, not the audience ones. Because my first fan fiction, was okay, not good at all. Like it's so bad it's a good kind of category we're talking. But to get off that subject, fan fiction itself, all right, is practically creative writing incarnate. Right? It is taking two already creative properties and mashing them together, if you so choose. That's called a crossover. Or you can just take that property and take a different spin on it entirely, which is creative in itself, and you can do some really, really cool stuff with that.
Yeah, indeed. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. And by the way, hello, Oni. Welcome to the stream. We were just talking about creative writing, definitions of it, and right now, dark histories and fanfiction.
Well, it's an important thing to gloss over right now, because fanfiction, as I said, creative writing incarnate.
Yeah, exactly. Fanfiction is essentially creative writing incarnate. Oh, you're just passing by? Well, thanks for stopping by anyways. Right. As I was saying, creative writing is pretty much essentially fanfiction is essentially creative writing incarnate, because what you lack in quality, and indeed there's a lot of, you're going to sift through a lot of trash in terms of writing quality before you get to the cream of the cream that floats at the very top.
One thing, creative writing does not mean good writing.
Yes. Creative writing also does not mean good writing. And that also falls under the umbrella of our, I think, definition as well, which is writing for the express purpose of creative expression. And fan fiction has that in spades. Where they fall short, sometimes falling short is an understatement of comprehensible writing that is fit for human consumption. They pretty much have some of the most interesting concepts for characters, plots, settings that you can ever find.
I mean, yeah, it's true. As long as you can see through the of fanfiction.net, you can get some really cool stuff out of it. You can. And I mean, that's just like it's like One Punch Man, all right? The webcomic when it just started out, right?
Yeah.
One's art style is
rough,
endearing,
rough,
but trash.
I mean,
and I don't like trash talking it because, like, you know,
no. I think
it's One Punch Man.
I think rough would be the politically correct term for it.
The polite term, yes.
The more polite term for it.
But it's One Punch Man, all right? We've all seen it animated. You just fix the art style and you've got something great. Like, fantastic. That's basically most of what fan fiction is.
Yeah, definitely.
Most.
Or, you know, or sometimes you can write something that's really good, like other companies would pretty much decide to, you know, take it off of you without you knowing. Case in point, Rooster Teeth.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh god. That's painful.
Yeah.
Why did you say that to me?
Don't worry, we're not going into that because that's not what we're here for. We're here for creative writing, not creative infringement. All right, so considering that all of us have pretty much written fan fiction, how about we go about sharing our own respective experiences with the creative writing process?
All right, you want to go first?
Me? No. I prefer to let the auntie go first. So Amanda?
Yeah, the thing here is now I'm actually trying to think to like way back when I wrote that first few fan fiction versus how I tried doing that novella and then stopping, right? Because it was definitely a very different process back then, and then writing that novella was also a different process. But I think they both may or may not have actually just stemmed from me being sort of like questioning the way things are moving, or like, okay, so because bringing him back to that whole topic of like not wanting to be the to like not liking the idea of like a Mary Sue in like writing because it's so self-serving and stuff like that. My first completed fanfiction.
Whoa! Hold up! You actually completed one? Damn.
What is this?
Well,
yo, kudos to you, man. That's actually difficult.
Yeah. Can we get a round of applause for Amanda here?
Sure.
Damn, that's actually impressive.
So yeah, first completed one was when I was trying to sort of like debunk or sort of like do a anti-Mary Sue kind of thing. So it's like taking whatever tropes that has completely like defined a Mary Sue, being like, oh, probably gonna be the love interest of whoever is the protagonist or deuteragonist in said fan fiction, and then after that just inserting her in there. No, it's like, haha, no, this person is just gonna be an annoying little shit to the protagonist, but then mellows out near the end, and then they do not date each other in the end. So well, that was like,
Rejection.
yeah, just that one. Basically, in the words of what's the VTuber's name again? Forendo.
Orlando.
No. Yeah. So no waifu, Forendo. Yeah. Well, that was supposed to be sort of like a secondary goal to the main one being like basically expanding on an existing world already. I mean, hey, Treasure Planet could have actually gotten a sequel, and that
Oh,
was me. Yes,
yes,
I wrote
please.
a sequel to that,
You had
and
to do that to me. Why?
All right, I met you like what was it, half an hour ago? All right, you're awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it could have been great. So this was just me sort of like fantasizing what could have been a sequel to that actually really good Disney movie. But the only reason why it flops was because, I mean, somebody actually wrote a video essay about this, saying that the reason why it tanked was probably like C-suite meddling and going like, okay, don't give it a marketing budget because we think that it's gonna fail. It already used so much of our resources doing that whole 2D 3D modeling thing, and then trying to make it look like it's all still 2D, and then you're like, bruh.
Technical problems.
No.
No. Yeah, no, that is when you get when you use creative writing in other scenarios, say like, actual TV, animation, whatnot, there are other problems out of your control that can happen. That really sucks. It
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Yeah, it really
Especially
does.
when there are just so many dependencies and moving parts that go all together that, you know, the person writing the story cannot like control the outcome of that. And I think when it comes to like all these really interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary projects, it's more often the case where it is a collaborative writing thing rather than an individual writing it, which I think for a lot of aspiring writers, they might not like the idea of wanting to let something go because the team said no, I think this is not as feasible because of technical limitations over here. But in order to grow and make it in those sort of industries, yeah, you need to actually be able to compromise with a team because understandably there are limitations and things outside of your control.
Yeah, that'd be really hard for me.
Yeah, that.
Mhm.
Well, okay. Thank you, Amanda, for your for your brave story and your amazing accomplishment for actually finishing a fanfic. But
Yeah,
I
no.
am serious. I think even Ryan, which is like who I've known for quite a while, has only finished one,
Yep, just one.
just one, and I
And I
have
have like 16.
and I have finished none because one shots don't count.
That is true. Like one shots are just there, but then yeah.
And speaking of speaking of people's like first writing experiences, Murasaki here apparently first wrote a fan fiction about Les. I'm not sure what does that mean. Is it like lesbian relationships or or Les Miserables?
Live stream is suspiciously gay.
God damn it, Ryan, stop.
It's Aaron, all right? It's Aaron. He's just creeping in here. He has infected my mind.
Oh, okay, so so it is about lesbians. What franchise is it? Is it from an anime, a TV show, a cartoon, or dare I say it, original?
Everyone is just silent.
Shush. The council is awaiting response.
I guess they are. It was original.
Oh,
Spicy.
Oh, that is spicy. Oh, damn, that's
know.
original. But you never completed that. I mean, now that actually brings a very interesting thing. Like it's a bit of a tangent. We'll be getting back to Ryan later.
Probably.
The concept of original anythings in fan fiction, because like it's almost like that. I forgot the name. I forgot the exact name of the thought experiment, but it has something to do with a ship, and basically if you replaced every single plank, nail, everything else on a ship with exact identical replacement parts of it, is it still the original ship?
True. It's a good thought experiment. I think the answer is both yes and no. Yes, because the name and everything is we give it that meaning, right? This is my ship. It has this name. It looks like this. Therefore, it is that ship. But it isn't that ship, of course, because it's not actually made out of the material that it originally was made out of. And here I go, even comparing that it is the same ship when I'm trying to prove it isn't the same ship.
Yeah.
But here, yeah.
Oh, apparently Murasaki's work had some cliche touches like rich and poor, good evil relations in it, but stopped because both of them died in the in the initial ending.
Straight Romeo and Juliet. Just kill them both. I don't want to resolve this love. It's just murder them.
Rip.
love
What you
that.
say? You only meant well. All right, so Ryan, how about you? Like, what's your notable experience in creative writing?
All right. So creative. Okay, so I have been thinking about quote unquote creative writing for years now. And by that I mean I have been constructing one particular story for a very, very long time. And while I've never actually tried to put it into words until just recently, I have been using a little bit of inspiration from it in my writing. However, someone has to come from somewhere, and little Timmy's first fan fiction don't write itself. And yeah, getting into this. I indeed did start on fan fiction, and I wrote a if you want an image of how this went, a Ruby fan fiction
Here we go.
crossover with Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
Yeah, and
I remember that.
and I actually enjoy reading it back because not only does it show the enormous amount of progress that I have made, it's also so bad, but it's like in a good way, right? I really enjoy reading it, like almost unironically, because it's so bad it's good. But thank goodness I'm not writing like that anymore. Because all I needed, all right, to get out of that slump of, I'm not even sure how to describe it, was just a little bit of feedback. Someone came in and went, yo, you got some fun things going for you. You just need, a little more of this and that. And then I'm like, cool. And then something like clicked for me, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go write something even edgier. Which is what happened. But while it was edgier, it's also the fan fiction where I started to get writing, where I started to write in a more creative sense, per se, literally on the page and not just in general. And I actually managed to implement a sort of backbone to this writing, because all backbones should have writing.
Yes.
All writing should have a backbone of some kind, right? Whether, like, say, okay, Dragon Ball is a poor example, all right, but early Dragon Ball, okay,
Alright.
it actually had some decent power scaling, right? This character can do this, and they keep it consistent throughout the. Oh, they keep it consistent throughout that section, all right, and then when they need to change that, they give a reason, or hopefully a good reason for it. Keep moving on, right? It's the same thing with creative writing, and really I think writing in general. You just need to keep things consistent. You can feel free to have whatever rules you want, as long as you stick to those rules. For instance, one of the rules I am a fan of is that when people are dead, they stay dead. Character death, I believe, should have a significant impact on the story. And while I'm not going to Game of Thrones my characters, I am definitely not above killing them. And when I do, it's going to be for a good reason, and it's going to have a profound effect on the rest of the story and the rest of the characters, that kind of thing. Also, their abilities, if this person can be smashed through a wall, well, all right. How durable do you have to be smashed through a wall effectively? Okay, took no damage from that. Okay, cool. Keep that consistent throughout the entire thing, right? A good example of that is actually Superman,
Hmm.
or at least the original Superman. He can get smashed through walls. He can punch stuff really hard. His abilities are really consistent. He just has one of the dumbest weaknesses in fiction, I think,
Yes.
which is
Green glowing
kryptonite. But
rock.
when that kryptonite, it's very consistent though. When that kryptonite is uh, brought near him, he suddenly becomes really weak, almost helpless. And if, despite it being dumb, in my opinion, it is consistent, and it does fall within that. And I feel like that, in whatever world you're creating, keeps people immersed in what you're writing. If you break those rules you've made for yourself, you are also breaking immersion and creating plot holes. And that's usually not a way to go unless you are creating some sort of massive, complicated time travel, dimensional, I don't know, tomfoolery.
Or if
And
your
that would lead to more plot holes.
or
It
if your
would.
or
It
if your
would.
name
It,
is
it would be like.
Hirohito Araki.
Yes,
Create an episode.
universe reset. Let's go.
We're creating an episode of Doctor Who here. Like, seriously.
And yeah, I guess Doctor Who also fits in as well. Although,
Mm.
although to be fair, I am not too into Doctor Who, so I cannot,
So,
in
to
confidence,
briefly.
say much about if
Yeah.
there are any plot holes in Doctor Who.
All right. So, to briefly go over the many plot holes of Doctor Who. All right.
Alright,
You have this immortal Time Lord
okay,
screwing with time
okay.
constantly. So, basically, at the end of season 10, right? Daleks invade. They almost take over the universe. Earth is like, gets like, shut down by this alien race. All right, and they almost destroy all of reality. Right, the Doctor stops them. All right, with the help of his companions. All right. 2 seasons later, the Doctor goes, "Yo, why do none of you believe in aliens yet? Because no one believes in aliens. This is Earth." And he is screwed with time to such a degree that all of that got like wiped from existence. And then there's an entire plot arc about reality being so just absolutely bodied by the Doctor's. It might have been the Doctor's actions. I can't forget. It might have been something else, that like cracks in the universe start to appear, and he goes around, and it was actually really well done, really well written. But at the same time, it was still obvious plot holes, and the writers knew it. They were very self-aware of it.
So they retcon it.
I'm not even sure if retconning is the right word.
Fair
it's
enough.
very confusing.
And by the way, to those of you who are not familiar to what a retcon is, that is pretty much writer speak for, oh damn, there is a mistake I made in the timeline. I'm going to correct it in another chapter, so hopefully people won't notice.
So, funny thing actually, the Doctor is a retcon machine himself,
Ah,
and sometimes he there's an entire plot line where he or actually no, one of his companions tries to reverse a quote-unquote fixed point in time and retcons the universe on accident, in a manner of speaking. So it gets ridiculous. If nothing else, Doctor Who is creative writing.
yeah, Doctor Who is creative, right? In a lot of ways. And now that both of you have pretty much given your tales and stories, I guess it's my turn.
God, that was one question.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. That was
I
indeed.
just realized that.
That was
All right,
indeed one
go for it,
question.
dude.
That was indeed one question, indeed. Well, as for my dip into, I guess, creative writing, seriously, it all started out with uh with a long burning interest of wanting to see stuff that I want to read, but I just can't find it anywhere. And books are pretty expensive.
True enough.
Especially back when especially several years back, when I barely really ventured out into the main city center, where because that's where all the good books are. So going there was already a cost. Getting books there was, well, just doubly expensive.
Yeah.
And I sure as hell I'm not going to shell out, I guess, I guess $20 for a book probably doesn't seem much, but for a Malaysian like myself, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, no, like $5 to $10 at most, right? No, 20 is it's going over.
Yeah, so it's roughly $20 for a book that I'm not even sure is even something I want to read. Is a huge gamble, and there's not really, well, at least to teenage Nicks back in the day, to his knowledge, there wasn't really a repertoire of free literature that he could get, because let's face it, libraries are not really a thing. at least in the area I live. The only library available was in school, and there's a lot of homework to be done, so reading for school is usually relegated to English literature classes. And I don't know about you, but reading Jane Austen, which, by the way, I admit she's an excellent writer. The stuff she writes, like Pride and Prejudice and Emma, are really good. But if you're forced to read Jane Austen for class,
Oh boy.
it's torture.
Yeah.
Especially when you're expected to understand the nuances of things that you definitely know are not even part of your culture, such as the intricacies of Victorian England's dance routines. Ah, yes, of course. I, a Malaysian boy, would definitely know about all of that. Because clearly, I can just ask my grandparents about it, and obviously they would know.
But you see, all right, Britain's got to work its way into your life somehow.
I mean, it already has, considering Malaysia is a former colony,
Yeah.
among other
Yep.
things. But let's not get into that. Anyways, getting back to that, so they're very much left with one other outlet. So that was fan fiction. So okay, it was alright at first. I was more of a reader, but then the actual writing part came, funnily enough, because of a bet I made with another writer friend of mine. Because he wrote a lot of fan fiction, like a lot, and in my personal opinion, not exactly the best thing to read in the world. And pretty much I made a bet with him. So he's like, okay, look, how about I'm going to prove a point that I, a person with zero writing experience, am just going to write the first thing that comes to my head and publish it on fanfiction.net and watch it get popular overnight.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That was a gamble, dude.
Yeah, indeed, that was a gamble. I mean, sure, there was no money on the line, but my dignity certainly
Hey,
was.
sometimes dignity's important, dude.
Yeah, my
So what happened next?
what happened next? Well, pretty much I was like, okay, so what is the one thing I really like most at the time? Toho. Okay, Toho has a vast universe of things that you can write about. I mean, heck, a lot like Toho's rise to fame is pretty much mountains upon mountains of fan creations. So I figured, you know what? I like Toho, and particularly the concept of the previous shrine maiden before the protagonist Reimu. So it's like, okay, so in a fandom, she's mainly known for actually beating the crap out of people rather than using fancy magic. And the other franchise that I was really into back then was Doom, because Doom 2016 came out. So I thought to myself, hey, why don't I take this idea from what I like about Toho and slap it with Doom and see what happens.
Went interestingly.
It went interestingly, and to my utter shock, not only was it received pretty well. Like I'm not sure if its TV tropes received well, but for Little Timmy's like first fanfiction, it was received pretty darn well. And not only that, it was also the first of its kind, at least in that particular crossover, because up until that point, there was no Toho Doom crossover. I was like, damn, this is a interesting feeling. And then fast forward several years, Little Timmy evolved from enthusiastic writer to still enthusiastic writer, but jaded about people's reactions to his writings. Because as I started writing more and more, I became more self-aware of my own writing quality because I like to reread my stuff, and much like what Ryan said, like I do keep most of my old works around rather than deleting them, because it's a reminder of how far I've gone as a writer. Only problem was, like, I see the writing for what it is, but most of the comments, or as fanfiction.net calls it, reviews, pretty much either shower it with a lot of praise or shallow one-liners like good, instead of telling me why is it good, or is there
Nice.
anything you liked about it, or like it got annoying really because I definitely know something is wrong with my writing, but no one's going to tell me. And yeah, so in a way, like I'm also planning to write something original for myself. It's just a little bit of an inverse from Ryan's own original writing endeavors, because where he, in his quest to write something original, dabbled in fanfiction first.
True.
I
It's
dabbled
true.
in fanfiction first, and then from there I was like, I want to write something original. Yeah, so
It's okay though. All right.
yeah,
Listen. All right. I wager that those quote unquote reviews were worth it, because we met that way, and therefore
true,
you got me out of it. So that's the giant plus.
true,
Or at least I'd
and
wager I'm a giant plus. Is that true? I probably shouldn't
no,
hype
no,
myself up, right? That's how that works.
no. You are no. You are a giant plus because I believe you are pretty much the only person that gave me anything of writing substance in terms of feedback. Like seriously, like out of God knows how many people were pretty much like in the reviews back then. Only one person actually went and said, "Hey, I like I really like some of the concepts you have here, but you need to put in more detail." It's like
16 times the detail.
16 times the detail, every single crack in the wall.
We
Yeah.
need a fully rendered video game in this fan fiction.
1080
or it's bad.
1080p, 144
Nah,
frames
4K,
per
man.
second. No. I think back then 1080p was still considered pretty dope. I think.
Yeah.
All right.
so.
Alright, so
But I mean, to digress a little bit,
all right, digress.
when we're talking about those reviews, right, where it's a lot of support and encouragement and stuff like that. But at the same time, when as a budding writer, that's something that when you first start out, it's like, oh wow, hey, this is some great stuff. As opposed to if some more critical, like for some people it's constructive criticism, but for others it could still be something that hurts your feelings in a way, which I mean, considering that my quote unquote character arc was going from somebody who was a bit more emotive to somebody who is a lot more grounded in logic, I can see that for some people they might actually just drop creative writing altogether if they just had that one guy that goes like, okay, maybe you could have actually improved it this way, and then said it in a not so nice way. So it feels like having those people who like, how much of positive reinforcement is enough, and where is this line where it starts to become annoying for you guys in terms of knowing that it stagnates your growth?
Yeah, exactly.
That is dependent on the person writing. For me, all right, you could have probably pointed out a ton of things. Like, all right, so back when I was first writing, all right,
All right.
if you pointed out like every little flaw and everything, you might have needed to actually what's it called? Kind of soften the blow with, yeah, I'm just here to, help you and all that kind of wording, right? Because back then I was not competent. I was just writing for fun, and I wanted people to like my stuff. I liked my stuff, but I wanted everyone else to like my stuff too. And so when I actually got some feedback, it was a little disheartening, but it was also great for me because it actually kickstarted everything. So it is two sides of everything, right? You can give people feedback, I just don't be mean about it, or else you might turn them away. Nowadays, you could probably say anything to me, and I'd write it down and go, okay, and consider it, even if you were very mean-spirited about it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
but I have done that. I have tried to beta read for some people, and I have gone through this long, extensive thing, and I have made a mistake of doing that, and not just pointing out the bigger stuff. Because then they read all of this and go, "Oh no, my writing sucks," and it's gonna turn away from it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, I didn't mean to do that," and it's like, ah. So
No. Yeah, because because while while things such as like spag or spelling, pronunciation, and grammar is really important when it comes to your writing. Um, I, I, I think when it comes to that sort of thing where you're beta reading, the I think the item of most importance would actually have to be the plot, the characters, and the setting, because uh, because from personal experience, I myself would slog through some of the some of the worst looking pieces of writing I've ever seen, but still stick around because the plot is somehow engaging.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I could never do that. I barely read other fan fictions at all.
You see.
I couldn't bring myself
Well,
to.
you see, Ryan, that's because you've never felt the utter desperation of someone who just really wants to know, like if there's anything else that could be done for this underused character in your favorite franchise. You don't know that desperation, man.
Yeah, that is true. That I did read one of those as well. Like you said, the spag wasn't fantastic, but then the plot kept me engaged until the second half, where this guy decides to become edgy, dark and edgy edgelord, and decides to kill everyone. And you're like, bruh, you just basically debated and cheated my feelings out of all this, because it's like, oh, it's a new hope. This character actually apparently doesn't die in the series, and then guess what? Oh no, he dies in the end again. What?
Rip.
Damn. He had a phoenix down and wasted it.
Yeah,
He got raised from the dead and died again.
I know, right?
Yes. Don't you hate it when you're spawn killed?
Oh yeah, I really do hate it. But you know what I don't hate? Learning more about the types of writers that we are, because because hearing from all of your experiences, it's made quite clear that each and every single one of you has an interesting and unique approach to how you write. So that kind of begs the question. So what type of writer are you?
So there's an interesting dichotomy that actually goes around with this whole type of writer thing.
Yeah.
You are a pantser or a plotter.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah.
Back when I was younger, I was definitely a pantser. The more recent one that I tried doing, well, I actually had a spreadsheet of what elements I wanted to bring out in this specific plot, the character arc that was gonna happen, what the readers are supposed to feel, and then only then, right? So yeah, that was basically, again, going from one end of the extreme to the other.
Okay. So right now you are definitely more on the planner side of things, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So Ryan, how about you?
Oh, hold on. There's the mic. All right. So gosh. I don't exactly know where I fit into this because I actually haven't heard these two terms defined to me before. But
Okay.
here's how I go about it.
All
All
right.
right, here's how I've actually been going about writing the book I have right here in my
Ooh.
hands.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I have the plot points. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. Technically, the entire trilogy I am planning has been planned and is set in stone, right?
Yes.
But I have no details in there at all. Uh I went about, I started writing, and then I just went. I'm trying to get from point A to point B, B to C, C to D, and keep it going. And that sounds pretty boring, actually, in language terms. But for me, it's really interesting because I get to actually explore precisely who these characters are. I don't just have a broad understanding of who they are. I am in the moment creating them. So I'm not sure where exactly I fit into those two terms. I'd wager somewhere in between, but I'm not sure.
I guess it's still more of a planner side of things because even when I had all of my overarching points that I wanted to make also, right? The act of writing in itself still ends up like maybe bringing surfacing out some details that could have been like, oh hey, actually this could be something that I can sort of add into towards like character arc B or character arc C, and then after that, it still fits into part of the overall plan. It's just that when you're executing, the details just surface on it as it goes along.
Yeah, no, that's something I've definitely noticed. I have redone several paragraphs in just my first chapter because I'm like, oh, or I could do this, or I could do this, or it could be written this way. This has more flair to it. I'll write it like that, you know? You always go over that, and it's always, for me, it's always at a different point in time, right? I write this at one point, and maybe the day I'm looking it over, I'm a little more awake, and I go, oh, hey, yo, look at that. Um, and constantly, I am thinking about what's the future for this book at the moment, and what I want to put in it, and exactly what the structure looks like. And I know what the structure looks like, and I know what the general plots are. I know what all the characters are. I just don't know exactly how the words are going to be put in place, and it's been a journey to figure that out.
Hmm. I think like given everything that you said, like I I think you're more of a like I think what Amanda calls a pantser than a planner. Like, and just so that you're clear what the hell a pantser planner thing is, I'll
It
just
sounds like you're going up and pantsing someone. So,
yeah, no,
but continue.
no, don't worry, no, because like the term pantser, or how some people refer to it more formally as a discovery writer, it's pretty much like a short form for writing from the seat of your pants, aka
Yeah.
you have something in your head, just fly off with it and see where it takes you. That's why some people also call it being a discovery writer. That's like, at least from what I've heard, Stephen King is more of a discovery writer himself.
Because he died today or yesterday, actually.
Wait,
Mm.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah,
I'm gonna. Yeah, damn. I didn't know either.
yeah. Damn's right. I didn't see that one coming.
Well,
But yeah,
neither did all of us.
that sounds like structured chaos to me.
Yeah, such a case. And then there's the planner, where you actually sit down and plan. I mean, of course, the two absolute extremes of each are if you are a very extreme pantser slash discovery writer, you just keep on writing and writing anything new that comes up. You pretty much go ahead and write something new about it. When are you going to reach the end? Who knows? Because it turns out like Sally pretty much like walked into a tavern and hit up with someone that gave her a magic ring, and therefore kicking off a side quest. Now that
Frodo.
now that I think about it, being a hardcore discovery writer sounds a whole lot more like being a dungeon master.
Yeah, no, I was about to make that comparison. Because guess what dungeon mastering is? You can
Improvising.
it is oh my goodness, you can plan all you want, all right? But at the end of the day, D&D is a cooperative storytelling game, as long as you make it. And they will throw you for a loop. Your
Oh
players
yeah.
will take your structured campaign and smash it to the ground. They'll roll a nat 20, derail a train, and voila, you're in a forest now. You didn't want to be in a forest at the end of this game, but here you are.
Yeah. And also, hello, Kazumi Aine. Hello, well, guys, thank you for stopping by before your eye starts to close. Yeah, I know. I know it's pretty late for a lot of you out there, but it had to be done. Because why? Uh, because these two lovely, lovely guests live on totally opposite sides of the world. Ryan,
15-hour difference, isn't it?
yeah, I'm pretty
Something
sure
like that.
something like that. Because Ryan over here hails all the way from the good old U.S. of A. Whereas Amanda
All the way
here,
over here.
lives in the same time zone as us.
Yep.
Man, ain't that convenient?
I know. You know what's also convenient?
Trying to schedule with this guy is not convenient, but go for it.
You know what? So you know what's also convenient? Having to find the right time that also fits both of your schedules because both of you are working people as well.
Yeah.
It's like, ah, god damn it. Alright. And before anyone asks, why not Sundays? Or I guess in Ryan's case, why not a Saturday evening then? The answer is simple. I have D&D on that day. I do not want I do not want to miss a D&D session when I've missed quite a few already.
I mean, to be fair, we did our D&D session yesterday, so you're
True,
actually
true.
free.
I know.
Your Sunday.
I know. That's because I wasn't expecting that.
It's okay. It's okay. You're good.
Anyways, getting back to it, like types of writers. So yeah, Ryan, I believe you are more of a discovery writer than a planner, and
I fall somewhere in the middle
yeah,
there.
you fall somewhere in the
I have a
middle.
bit of both, but
You have a bit of
I
both.
do think I am a little more discovery, right? Like my
Yeah,
broad strokes are very well defined, but my my minute details are completely by the fly.
yeah, like you definitely have a beginning and an end. Now, how you get to that end usually is a bit of a trip.
I wouldn't say just a beginning and end. There's a lot of other things in there too, right?
Yeah,
But in broad strokes, yeah.
broad strokes. Yeah, broad strokes. Yeah. So, like, there's always a pro and con for being the extreme of either end of the extreme of being a discovery writer. One of the downsides is being you don't exactly know when you're going to reach the end of your story because there's always something new to write about. It's really interesting and you want to keep writing about it, and then there's another one,
Yeah.
and another one, and another one. Whereas
And in video game terminology, that's feature creep.
I think that's also part. I think that's also part of any sort of thing that that requires you to actually end like events or planning for events.
Mm.
Yeah. True
Yeah,
enough.
because sometimes you get too enthusiastic. Like, okay, I really like this thing. I want to put in that thing. Oh, how about we also do this other thing? And before you know it, you're like, oh damn, that's kind of a lot of things to get sorted before event deadline. Crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas but then again, like going to the exact opposite of it, being an extreme planner, and I've actually met someone who was an extreme planner. She had like entire actual books upon books of of her world and the worlds within that world, and the fauna, the fauna, the types of people that live in there, the races, the religions of those people, the languages they speak, everything. As for the actual story, not a single word was written yet.
Damn. Top-down world building. Actually, that is
yeah.
If you're going all the way from the top down, that's basically the biggest drawback as well, because you can't exactly think of where the starting point is versus like bottom up building. So what I did with the one that I put on hold was doing sort of like bottom up building. I just basically said, okay, vaguely like Imperial China, we'll just throw in a little bit of steampunkish elements in there, which apparently there is a term for it called silkpunk, which Ken Liu actually ended up doing that one with the Grace of Kings, the whole Grace of Kings series. And then I was like, okay, these are the characters that I want. I will figure out the world as I go along, but I want this plot to happen in there. Yeah, so.
Also, steampunk Imperial China. Eh? Steampunk 1077.
Not bad at all.
What does it mean to be a criminal?
It was basically gonna take place in an alternative timeline where instead of like 100 years of shame, we were the China there was going to win the Opium War. And then kickstart its own industrial revolution. And of course, if looking at it now and then thinking about the political implications of writing such a book, it's actually really pretty scary now that I think about it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you wrote it now, you're gonna get hella social credit.
He's not wrong.
That is true.
Yeah, and you can't tell me I'm wrong
actually,
either.
If we're sort of looking into some of the details in there, I might also get some of my social credits taken away from me.
I guess. But then again, like, it is alternate history. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm pretty sure you probably win them, like, you probably win a lot of social credits with the whole premise of 100 years of winning than 100 years of shame.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be the characters that would end up taking the points away in the end.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Cool. So, Steampunk 1077. It's a bit of a digression, but wanna point out where you've published it. Amanda?
What?
All right.
Oh, no. I didn't publish it. It was actually all just in it's all in a I don't know whether it was in a Google Drive document. It's completely unpublished. I was actually planning to submit it to a publisher and or self-publish it when it was done. So it's like, yeah, it was really one of those where I tried having my shots at becoming a published writer, but then in the end it's just like
yes, becoming a published writer. I don't think I've ever encountered anything quite as daunting and intimidating as the requirements to actually get yourself published.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, and just to sort of bring more context to that, because that the Writers Festival actually had like an open call of sorts to see for like works in progress, and that's why I was like, oh, I have this thing going on right now. What if I actually submitted it and then had a sort of like one-to-one conversation of where my standing is in terms of how this piece of work is going to be versus like other things, which turns out that I still have a lot of things to work on if I were to actually even compete in that front. Like the premise was interesting for them. It's still just like the flair of writing, as you would say, because when you start writing more businessy, like content that's more tailored towards businesses rather than individual enjoyment, you lose a little bit of that creative touch, I guess.
Yeah. Because I think some
Yeah, one of the
because okay,
well,
sorry. Go.
no, you can go. You go first. We'll be polite here.
Okay, all right. I mean, you're the guest in my home. I should be the one being polite to you.
All right, fine. I'll go first then. Jeez,
Yeah.
you don't have to be that way about it.
Fool, you're up
No,
against
but one of
you're
the
up against an Asian. We out polite each other. we we argue at restaurants over the right to actually pay for dinner.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. But one of the things I actually heard that was probably really bad for creative writing, like the flair and the substance of the writing, is actually going to college and getting like an English degree or whatnot, or maybe even just going to college in general.
Ow. Ouch, that just kind of hit me right there.
I'm sorry. I knew that was gonna strike something, but I had to say it.
Yep.
And
I gotta be.
Pop off, King. Go on.
Yeah, it's just because they basically tell you how to write. This is the structure. This is the proper way, etc., etc., etc. And I mean, quite honestly, you don't have to follow that to the letter. I mean, keep it recognizable, of course, but just go for it. You don't need any of that.
I mean, well, I guess my experience with that is more of the fact that I've just been blown wide open by all the different frameworks and how different people wrote things in different places in time, and why some people want to
Yeah.
sort of question that, and that's where it's like I have so many options and I can't pick one. But like, I guess what you were sort of referring to is for the ones who actually entered like the creative studied to become creative writers and stuff like that, which I would say, yes, I completely agree with that. If you were to look at somebody else who has went into like BFA and they're like, nah, you if you wanted to draw anime, you can't draw anime. You needed to know how to do to do like actual live painting first, which, yes, to be fair, that helps a lot in terms of like foundational drawing skills, because you are looking at an object with all the three different angles, right? But the market says they want more anime because weebs like us will consume freaking anime stuff. So
Oh my god! I got run over by a drunk taxi driver in Singapore, and suddenly I got reincarnated into a fantasy world where people actually appreciate my drawings.
That's the only difference too, and that's why it's a fantasy world. Like, you literally just woke up in your bed, but people are just like genuinely more positive towards your work.
Like, oh my god, people actually like me.
The plot twist later on is that you actually survived the taxi, getting hit by a taxi, and it's just everyone felt so bad about it that they decided to be nicer to you.
Oof.
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 Oof, indeed.
Damn, that's now that is a zinger of a twist if I've ever heard one. Damn. Alright. So where were we before we kinda got derailed for a bit?
Experiences with writing, you were going, and we just went. I'm pretty sure we're in space at the moment.
And then and then soon enough we stopped thinking of together.
Ah, yes.
Alright,
Or we end up in one of those like murder mystery games and go like ping sus.
pink sus.
It's okay. It's while at least All right. While we have each one collective brain cell, collectively we have like 3. So it's all good. We can work this out.
Yeah, we can work this out.
I completely botched English there, but that's okay. You just ignore that.
It's okay. We all know that that people that speak English in English speaking countries aren't exactly the best at speaking English.
I want to dispute that, but you're completely correct.
All right. Anyways, to add on to what both of you all have been saying about like taking up a degree and pretty much having that stifle your creative flair. Sometimes you don't even need to take up a degree in writing or be an English major to have that flair or that style pretty much be like wiped out from you. Sometimes all it really takes is just taking a degree that just happens to have a lot of writing that needs to be done. Yeah, because that's what I've been experiencing. Because my degree involves a lot of essay writing, like a lot of essay writing. I think on average in a month I write at least 8,000 to 10,000 words for assignments alone.
Mm. That actually sounded pretty close to my content writing job as well. Like every week is a thesis. Every week is a 1,000 to 2,000 word thesis in a way.
I don't know how
Talking
they
about-
do it.
Yeah, it's like 1,000, 2,000 words. Like you see, like it's very much possible because academic essay writing involves a lot, and I do mean a lot, of taking like a lot of sources and stringing them together in a coherent way, such that it somehow conveys your original ideas.
Yeah, it was a lot of that, and just basically like, okay, this source says this source says that, synthesize, voila, original content.
Exactly.
And or thesis.
Pretty much.
That's what I fear.
Yeah, pretty much.
It
And
becomes templated in that sense, and that's why you're kind of like put into a box, and therefore you are sort of stuck in that way of like writing for a long time, and then your creative muscle just kind of dies out. It
yeah,
becomes like a shriveled up
yeah,
a
pretty,
shriveled up limb.
yeah, pretty much what she said. Because on top of being templated, the type of language you use is also limited. You have to use a very specific type of of language when you want to write academically. You can't just go you can't just go, all right, Dr. John Smith rebuked the argument of of Dr. James Watson epically. Like, no, you can't do that. Yeah,
Dude, he used his elite speaking skills to totally own that noob.
no, because how you write and even the type of language you use is highly dictated by the referencing style that you're expected to use. And the referencing style affects how you write by a lot. Because, for example, if you use the Harvard style, where you have your sources listed like within the where your references are also listed within the paragraph itself, you kind of have to write in such a ways to include a lot of those sources within either in one sentence or fit in as many of the sources in one paragraph. Whereas if you write the Chicago style, you have to rely a lot on footnotes.
There's a Chicago style. This is a revelation to me.
Yes, there is a Chicago style, there's a Harvard style. And then there's also like law school, like where they have their own set of styles, and we're not going to get into that. Point is, having to write in that sort of environment for a very long time, what Amanda said, is more than enough to let your creative muscles atrophy away to pretty much becoming a useless limb. Because if there's one thing about academic essays that most people don't really care about is paragraph styling. um, like, sure, styles of paragraphs matter when you're writing academically, but that's normally because it's part of a template that you have to follow, rather than something that you do because it looks better. So what it means is that like you become a whole lot more accustomed to writing entire chunks of text, like actual walls of text.
Yep.
Because why? Well, the style demands it. And because
Okay, well,
yeah.
I am suitably depressed about this. Do we have a more lighthearted question on the horizon?
All right. No, don't worry.
Okay. I sort of have one.
All right.
though.
Okay.
Okay, you
Great. All right.
continue
Shoot.
then, go for it.
Okay.
Shoot.
Thoughts on purple prose?
Purple prose. I feel like okay.
Like-
personally, as as a virtual YouTuber who based his entire color scheme on the color purple, I find the term purple prose to be a bit to be a bit offensive. Not to the person who speaks it, but the very fact it's called purple prose. Like why purple?
I know, right? I also like the color purple as well. Like just the term itself, like why? But yes, we're talking more about the act of writing purple prose, not so much the fact that it's got the word purple in it.
I know. I'm just doing a bit. I mean, hey, being a bit more lighthearted, right? Oh, hey, Kiwami, you finally finished your upgrade while hearing this nice podcast. Well, first off, congrats. Second off, thank you. Oh, your avatar upgrade. Okay. Nice. Well, hope you still stick around after even after that, because I believe we still got time. We still got time for more. So, Purple Prose. And I guess it also falls under the umbrella of the actual next thing I was about to ask you guys. Common gripes in writing.
Where do I even start? Oh,
Alright, before you start, Amanda, thankfully, kicked us off. Purple Prose.
okay, yeah, go for it. I'm gonna be on for ages, so you go first.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts first, because I asked the question.
Okay, interesting approach. Okay, Ryan, hit us off.
Okay, so, think gripes. Alright, trying to find a starting place. I guess I'm gonna go with character route at the moment.
Okay.
When creating a character, alright? I mean, go ahead, create whatever you want, alright? But if you create an awesome character, alright, and it is like fan loved and everything, do not just go and kill the character outright for no reason other than you can. Alright? Just don't do it. Don't do it ever. Alright, that subject's closed now. Let's see here. Another one. When you're creating a world, alright, just keep it, within the realm of what makes sense, when you're trying to terraform a planet, right? You can spit out, or actually no, hold on, science. All right, science and science fiction. You know how constantly, sometimes the scientists in that will just spit jargon,
Mm-hmm.
just absolute nonsense. I like like in a way I like that because it's hilarious, but at the same time, I can't stand it either. That's just a personal preference of mine. But these are all like nitpicks and everything, right? You want like the big gripes.
I mean, nitpicking about Purple Prose is, I believe that's also kind of a big gripe as well. I mean, hey, like there's a lot of it, and clearly enough of it has prevailed such that you yourself, Ryan, have something to say about a very specific instance of it.
Um,
Oh,
in a sense,
and
Mary Sue's,
all right.
right? We all have a gripe with Mary Sue's.
Yeah, we do. And by the way, before we continue, to those of you who are still around, sticking around, purple prose is pretty much the term for overly verbose and lengthy
Yeah.
dialogue, where a very nice example of this would be referring to a glass of water as a crystalline container of aqua.
Which is meme worthy in of itself, but like if we're like from a character standpoint, all right, Mary Sue's, we all have that's like a character purple pro right there, right? Everything about this character is flamboyant, perfect, etc., right? But if we're gonna go for like the actual like writing itself, okay? If we're gonna ignore like plot and characters, the crystalline chalice is not something in any way you should be describing a glass of water, all right? Do not, I repeat, do not make your audience open the dictionary every 2 sentences. Please. All right, we don't need your we don't need we're trying to read a book here. We're not going on a word scavenger hunt, all right? We know you know words, okay? We don't know those words. Please don't use those words.
Can I actually record that and then show it to that one lecturer that time who thought she was being smart when she said that, oh, there is someone left their orological item in the lecture theater, and I was
item.
I know. I was like, I was so tempted to be like, yes, that is my time machine. I would like to go back to the future.
Hold up. Orological item. What is she even referring to?
Like
a watch.
A few things.
Like
a watch. A watch.
Wait, hold up. How?
A watch.
Wait, how is that first word spelled? Because like orological item.
Yeah, HOROLOGICAL.
Horologic. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Horology is the scientific study of time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And you refer to.
All right.
Okay.
As I said,
okay.
Right,
anyways,
don't make your audience use a dictionary. Please don't do that. Please.
No.
All right. Maybe like once every few chapters, throw in one of those words in there if you think it's fun. You do you. But if you add too many of these horrible logic words,
horrible logic.
Oh dear. It's gonna bog down the enjoyment of your work tenfold. All right, you may enjoy writing it, but I mean, if you enjoy writing it, you do you, of course. But if anyone else is trying to read it and they're not a thesaurus, it's gonna backfire.
Indeed, you are correct, esteemed person who has been invited onto the show.
Why, thank you, person who invited me onto the show and is now currently complimenting me.
Very well. Shall we now hear the thoughts of the not so elderly owner of a shady establishment?
Oh my god. Yeah, so let's see. Gripes about writing. Can I just go ahead and like hone in on the whole Mary Sue thing as well?
Alright, Mary Sue thing.
Because a lot of new Hollywood films have basically
pain. That's a migraine right there.
I know. I'm actually rubbing my the ridges of my eyebrows as I speak. So on the topic of
Hollywood.
Don't you mean applying friction to the edges of your eyes above your head?
Oh no. Yes, so yes. Hollywood and basically now thinks it's a great idea to throw in Mary Sue's as like role models for little girls to look up to. Oh yeah, sure, she's perfect. And then after that, said girl looks at perfect girl and thinks, no, I am inadequate. I do not possess super strength, and I'm not born like that. How is this empowering for me? So yeah, the just if your character already starts out perfect, it's always gonna be static. It doesn't even matter whether your plot is gonna be is gonna be fantastic. But then if your main magnet is gonna be Miss freaking Frozen Elsa, let it go kind of character, it's just, oh my god. I have you like did you see that one game theory video of like what could have been based on whatever little traces of things that were left behind in the Kingdom Hearts level for that Frozen world, where Elsa could have had that character arc of falling into darkness and then coming out of that, realizing that she actually had the love of her sister all this while, but then Disney going like, no, we want to keep her image squeaky clean. And you're like, bro, the freaking hell, you're painting her as a freaking Mary Sue. Have you not seen the gripes that people have over against fucking Mary Sue?
Yeah, that's cold.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of cool. Freezing even.
Yep.
Man.
No,
well,
like
well-
I completely agree with that though,
Pretty
right?
much.
You're gonna just Hollywood's stacked with that kind of stuff too nowadays. And when you said, it sometimes comes off as demeaning to the people you're supposed to, have role models for, right? Elsa isn't even the worst offender in this case. There are so many others that wow. I was thinking of Mulan, the new Mulan.
Oh yeah, that works too.
Oh
Right.
god, yes, that one. What the? Oh my god! Since when is she freaking like witchcraft and shit like that? Why are you fucking putting it? Okay, okay. When we're talking about
Amanda, Chinese kung fu, wushu chi bullshit.
God.
Wushu bullshit, dude. When you're okay, look. Sure, creative writing. But then when you have an established culture with their own way of thinking, you do not fucking come in and colonize the shit out of it with your Western values and Western ways of thinking.
Oh,
Ooh,
culture battle, let's go.
culture. In this corner, we have again. No, we're not doing that.
The rotan wielding auntie over here who had a phase of like reading through freaking like Hanfu history and wanting to try and figure out how our clothes were made back in the days of yore. On the other corner, white people.
Bruh, you man, auntie really decided to
you're
say that,
killing
huh? Oh no, Ryan, stay with us, Ryan, no. It's
I have actually taken damage.
oh man, you have taken 18d6 damage.
Man, that's impressive. I'm glad I can take that amount. Also, I'm dead.
Just saving throw.
Let's go.
All right. Getting back on track. So yeah, that Mulan thing definitely. But when it comes to like, I mean, the role model thing, sure. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong about it, but yeah, let's just focus on the role model part for now. Man, because the original Mulan animation, I mean, sure, Mulan as a tale has been around for about as long as the concept of China itself being around. But
depending on which part of the one that you're talking about, but
True.
I go on.
True, but hey, generalization. Right. But the original Disney Mulan animation, like sure, a lot of it is inaccurate. I mean, Mulan never had a sassy
Talking dragon.
like talking dragon. Mulan also probably did not murder an entire army of of invaders with an avalanche.
Mm-mm.
But
And a firework.
and fireworks, yes.
Actually, it wasn't a firework. It was I think it was like a cannon explosive of some kind.
Yeah,
But
pretty much. Yeah, but anyways,
Yep.
in terms of actually becoming a role model for people to look up to, like that is where the writing of that particular version of Mulan excelled. Uh, because from beginning to end, it was a tale about a woman who is trying to protect like her father's honor by essentially by essentially doing the best within her capacity while also not resigning herself to the fate being left for her if she decided to stay, which is becoming someone's wife.
I mean,
Oh,
it's not
jeez.
just that.
I know.
It's like
Yeah.
it's filial piety,
Yeah, filial piety.
and then it's also the growth of somebody who instead of just using bronze to like triumph over like evil, she actually ends up using a mix of both, because like if you see that climbing the part where she actually climbs up to get the arrow,
No. Totally.
that was
totally.
when she
Yeah.
uses like the how do you say it? Instead of just having the weights act as dead weights, the ties end up being the assists that she needs in order to scale up the pole at the first place. And well, the reason why she's even able to murder like an entire army with the avalanche is because she thought, oh, maybe what if I trigger an avalanche at the first place instead of just having to like charge ahead and make it a death wish for that their group of like, I don't know, hundreds versus 1,000.
Mulan is a D&D like play character confirmed.
Right. That comment aside, the reason, all right, we're on the exact same page here. The reason I love
Yeah.
the original, animated Mulan, compared to now Mulan, is because she actually had to be smart to overcome her problems,
Exactly.
right? She didn't have superpowers. She was just one girl trying to do something that was, in all honesty, way above what one person should be able to do, but through like critical thinking and quick thinking, she manages to do what she does in the movie, and it is awesome, quite frankly.
Yeah, it is. And I
And
think
then you look at the Mulan that we have now, and it's like, funny chi, I kick things.
no, because
Yeah.
no, because here's the thing, like, because like if we were to take all of your points combined, and if we were to try to find one unifying point as to what exactly makes that Mulan that much better than that thing that called itself Mulan, is that Mulan was actually a fleshed out character. She felt like an actual person.
Yeah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
same page. All right, when you were writing, all right, it just in general, all right, don't like not just creative writing. This is just pure writing advice. When you are writing a character, make sure that they feel real. All right, there was there was a I think it was an SCP short film that I was watching with my friends, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's very well done, these things, but they were basically just wandering around in Arma doing this whole this whole story, right? And the soldiers were just kind of taking a rest, on their trek. They were talking and everything, and after this like tense conversation, one of them like opens up his food package, MRE I think it's called, and goes, "Yo, dudes, I got a Milky Way." And it's little stuff like that, and not just little stuff like that, but that stuff really helps a character, you know. And on the subject of the bigger things, right? Uh, people, we are not perfect by any means. All right, we are going to make mistakes, and I mean that's part of writing a character, you know. But make sure that mistake is, you know, in character for them. You know, it makes sense they would make that mistake, right? Um, and that actually comes to, like, you know, villains and everything too, right? They stick to their ideals, and they have a really good reason for having those ideals, you know, whether it's, you know, their past and whatnot, or, you know, the circumstances they find themselves in. And you know, you got those motivations down, you got the personality down, all those make a person, you know. We're not looking to create some cookie cutter cardboard character that does things and is epic for the sake of being epic, you know.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. Yeah, and that brings me back to my initial cough of Marvel, specifically Captain Marvel. Because
I
boy,
didn't watch the movie, but yes, I have heard things.
I've watched the movie. I
all right,
have.
okay,
I've-
all right. So, okay, if you haven't watched the movie, Amanda, I can pretty much sum it up in basically a few words. You know that thing you were complaining about Mary Sue's? You know, like how, yeah, how, you know, if you're already perfect, then there's nothing else to get engaged about. Yeah, that's pretty much Captain Marvel in a nutshell.
Oh no.
Because Captain
Three
Marvel, like,
words.
yeah, okay, Ryan, go ahead. 3 words.
Yeah, no, 3 words. All right. The entire plot is 3 words, and it is, "You go, girl." Yeah.
Yeah, slightly longer than 3 words. Character is already strong as heck. End of film. She's still strong as heck, except now she can go even further beyond. Not because she has a MacGuffin that helps her become more powerful, or she somehow breaks free from something that's holding her back. It's literally just, I am no longer going to listen to Superior that keeps telling me I ain't worth shit. That's it.
That's it.
That's literally it.
Not even an
That's it.
anime inside
No.
internal struggle.
No.
Damn.
There is.
I mean,
There is a scene
yeah.
at the end, all right, where she is facing off against the guy, all right, the guy who was her, like, original commander, right? And he's just like he's like trying to do this whole, like, you know, almost villain speech, and she just blasts him and goes, "I don't need you," and then just walks. That's it. And just walks off. That's it.
Well then.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you really wanted to want to be deep about it, like, sure, you could
okay.
you could see some metaphor for liberation and emancipation and all of that nice
You could.
female empowerment jazz there, but it's so lazily done. You have to
I mean, she could have done that from the start.
exactly, like she literally could have done it from the start. And it wasn't.
This girl literally has the power to overthrow this empire.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right, and it wasn't like she listens to the commander all the time. Anyway, she breaks orders already.
How is she not in trouble for breaking orders?
She already does that like several times throughout the film without even coming to the realization, oh no, commander's actually bad. So, like, I'm like, that sort of film makes me angry on several different levels. Like, but of course, first one being the writing part, because that is an insult to the intelligence of anyone consuming it. But also even if you want to look at it as a piece of empowering media, it's also insulting to the intelligences and capabilities of the people that you're trying to empower, because because all you're really saying is, oh hey guys, you wanna break free from your abusive relationships and whatnot, just say no.
I don't get superpowers and punch him in the face.
Yeah,
Come on, it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's easy. It's easy. Women everywhere. It's easy. Like, no.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. That's not how that works. Like, and even though I know some people may take what I say and probably like shrug it off because I'm not a woman, and therefore I can't really speak on behalf of women.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like on that point, fair. But if somehow in some other timeline someone did that for guys, I would feel pretty damn insulted because that's trying to tell me, oh, my problems are just that easy. Okay. All right, cool. I'll just punch my boss in the face and see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay.
and also hello NG. Thank you for coming by to the stream. Sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah. As a woman representing women, feel free to actually put that point across, because really I would also punch the person who said that solving problems is just as easy as punching someone in the face.
Yeah.
Here, let me try this thesis out on you.
Why punch? NG says, why punch your balls when you can just play Tarkov? Nah,
I don't know what that means.
Tarkov is a video game. It's an FPS. And as for what he means, I think it's pretty much it's pretty much like jumping to midstream and not getting a lot of context. But hey, but it's kind of interesting, you know. Why rather than punching your boss in the face, why not just go, postal? But then again, that would be adding a statistic to the American database, so I won't do that.
Great.
I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry, Ryan. I saw the opportunity. I had to take it.
I can't speak it now. I'm like, my chest is like seized up. It's like, don't laugh. It's funny though.
I had to do it too.
All right, but I know you did. All right, listen. All right, I did the college thing earlier. You can do that.
Fair enough.
It's 1 for 1. All right, punching each other in the face.
1 for 1. Yeah.
But yeah, just remember, all right, that people are people. All right, that doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
That does not change. All right. Doesn't matter what gender they are. It doesn't matter, I mean, I guess let's just go with that. It doesn't matter what gender. Our people are people. We're gonna have a general thing to everything, and I am flubbing this description, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, don't worry, but I get what you mean. You'll get what he means, right, chat?
People are people.
Yeah, exactly.
And just a final note, actually, let's actually bring up Wonder Woman, because we can't bring out
Captain Marvel.
We can't bring up all
Wonder
this
Woman
without talking about Wonder Woman.
In which I also have not watched the movie either.
Okay. So
to be fair, I also have not watched Wonder Woman the movie.
Really? Okay. So the first Wonder Woman,
all right,
I actually really like. I really like that one.
Okay.
Because basically it takes this super powerful character and makes her very innocent. All right, she doesn't know all about human nature because she grew up on a sheltered island that has this whole myth going. We got here because it was going through this creation myth. Basically, she lives on Themyscira. It's an island of Amazonian warriors, all women, and she doesn't understand how the rest of the world works.
All right, have a good night,
And so when
Murasaki.
when Steve Trevor, a guy from World War One, who crashed a plane and accidentally entered Themyscira, gets interrogated, he like describes this world that is just falling apart, right? And Diana goes, "Yo, I gotta do something about this." So she goes out there and she's convinced that the god of war has come around and is totally influencing the entire thing, right? He started it all. She just needs to find him, punch him in the face, and it will all be good. At the end of the story, it's revealed that is not really the case, because surprise, surprise, humanity started this war, not the god of war. And so when she's confronted with that, she's like, what the fuck do I do? Right? And she does end up, punching the god of war in the face, because it does turn out he's a little bit involved. But he wasn't really the instigator of it. He was just kind of there going in, like, trying to prove a point to Diana. And so at the end of the story, she is like forced to confront human nature itself. I find that pretty nice. I find that was a far better take than any other, empowerment quote unquote movie that I've seen released today. Is it perfect? No. But it's a lot of fun, and it's not bad at all.
Yeah, indeed, it is. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Like, not that I described it, I probably should take some time and watch it, and watch it if I ever encounter it.
The second one is questionable, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
You made Wonder Woman 84?
Wonder Woman 2. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
But the first one, at the very least,
First one.
I can recommend it.
All right. Reeling it back a bit.
All right, go for it.
Gripes. Okay, so we've established that Ryan's gripe so far is Purple Prose, and that is also related to Amanda's gripes with Mary Sue's. And apparently it all overlaps with this universal disgruntlement over big media companies writing non-characters and trying to sell them as characters.
Hate them.
Now, as for my own gripes on writing, it has to be essentially, like, if you're writing a fantasy, actually put in some effort into making your fantasy world. Like, I'm not asking you to write the Silmarillion 2.0 Electric Boogaloo. I'm not asking that. All I'm really asking is, please introduce something that is actually, original and not cut out of the Lord of the Rings, or if we're going towards the more Japanese oriented literature, how about like, getting transported into a fantasy land that isn't medieval Europe-ish.
But Nix, I need my isekai.
Yeah, I need my isekai. Like, alright, sure, you have your isekai. Alright, okay, fine. It's already bad enough that the entire genre is flooded with, like, magic that is suspiciously similar to anything that RPG Maker produces. Sometimes even the entire system.
Shots fired.
Sometimes even entire systems. And even some of the better, somewhat better ones have like serious logical flaws. Like, take for example the Rising of the Shield Hero. Like, who in their right mind would say the Shield and like the Shielder is a horrible class? Who? Like, you would have to if it were just the people in that fantasy world they get transported to, like fine, because it established that there's some weird religion thing going on and some conspiracies. Like, okay, fine, I can live with that. But the other people that get transported in with Mr. Shieldman laugh at him because apparently being the tank in an MMO is bad. Being a tank in an MMO is bad. How?
I know. I think that everyone else should just get good.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, have like I can pretty much tell whoever wrote that whoever wrote anything like Shield Hero or whatever has probably not even heard of the majestic double door strat in Dark Souls. But anyways, like, and that's just going into like the laziness of isekai world building. That isn't even getting into like the cop outs when it comes to establishing the world. Like, as I mentioned earlier, it's always medieval Europe. It's always medieval Europe because you gotta have your great swords, you gotta have your Zweihanders, you gotta have your dragons. But then, oh, what's this? The best weapon in all of the land that can kill the Demon King? A katana. Because
I
he
love it.
because he got
I hate it, but I love it.
because he gotta have your 1,000-folded Nippon steel.
Of course.
Yeah, and of course, like the only other like Eastern culture, like, is either Japanese, some offshoot of Chinese, or just skip nearly the entirety of Asia altogether and just pluck some random like Arabian looking country there, so that you can have your turbans and exotic dark-skinned ladies to add into the protagonist's harem.
And that's such a terrible reason to do that too. I mean, you've got Earth's cultures are so rich, right? If you are going to pull from one of our cultures, all right,
Yeah.
don't just throw them in there. It's almost like a disrespect to that culture to present it in such a way.
Yeah, exactly. And like, even though I worded my gripe as a gripe against like lazy world building, it's more of a isekai world building because like isekai as a concept is something that opens a lot of doors to a lot of really interesting stuff, really interesting stories, because you die and you're reincarnated in this majestic fantasy world, and you can do whatever you want with it. And what do? Oh, hey, like, let me just put in some RPG Maker magic system in here, maybe lazily slap some D&D magic as well. and then write some convoluted reasons as to why this thing that is actually really good suddenly becomes bad. Or, oh hey, hi Ricky, welcome. And what else? Oh yeah. Or and then having this excuse to have this really dumb skill become really overpowered when it's really just a combination of other things because you don't know how to write a freaking magic system. It's like, oh,
Yeah, like bringing
it's like,
smartphones into it.
it's like oh, what's this? Bringing my smartphone into a fantasy world. It's like, okay, you can do a lot of really interesting things with that concept because with a smartphone and what is essentially like in the medieval ages, like that opens up a lot of like plot devices that you can use, such as like how is it that you still have signal, like in this very otherworldly place you're in. Like maybe there's some deity that's at play. Like who knows? Like maybe Zinch somehow is involved because because that's what Zinch does. Or
I got I got transported to another world with a working smartphone, but my data plan is screwing me over.
I got transported into another world with my smartphone, but I can only use 2 gigabytes a day. And also a lot of other things, like, being able to, if you could, let's say, replicate the smartphone of yours, you could essentially revolutionize the entire nation, or the entire kingdom or world. But no, what do you do with it? Their smartphone becomes magical MacGuffin that allows you to do lazy writer things that they cannot be bothered with, such as actually having the main character be a character.
Dude, actually, the utility of a smartphone in a medieval era would be amazing, right? Like, it wouldn't give you godlike status or anything, but it has the possibility to rivalize technology. It has amazing timekeeping abilities, and assuming you have internet, you can quite literally just bestow the internet's worth of knowledge
Right.
upon everyone.
And even if you don't have the internet, like, and it becomes this magical device that has infinite battery, by itself it can become like a useful tool for navigation and strategizing, because, like, if we're talking medieval ages, like, I'm pretty sure the concept of a working, like, wristwatch probably isn't as common, like, amongst the populace, not to mention with the military. So being able to then use your smartphone clock to effectively, strategize, like, specifically at what time and at what positions that you've decided to show on your map on your phone, like, opens up a whole a whole new, like, a field of warfare.
Yeah.
Like-
And not just that, you could even have the whole idea of, like, when you have this new technology around, you end up like wanting to share it with, democratize it, or would you want to actually reserve it to only a few groups of people because it's something that is hard to replicate, or something like that, because and that can actually bring out really, really interesting character arcs and all that.
Yeah, it really does. But no, this is this is the Japanese light novel market we're talking about.
Yep.
The
Too
what,
heavy.
like, I mean, nah, I'm like, you say this too heavy, I'm going into it for just a little bit, just gonna dip my toes into it. Like, the thing about the Japanese light novel market is that it is heavily catered to the lowest common denominator, and that is through no fault of the consumers either, because, like, because that's essentially how businesses work. If you see something that sells, you milk it until it no longer sells. It so happens that the very lazy, like, isekai world building practice is popular, and therefore that is the trend that is being milked right now. And unfortunately, it being the isekai, also like isekai genre, where I've mentioned earlier is this treasure trove of potential, it is essentially like going through fanfiction.net all over again, except you get this you get this, like, creeping depression, because for a fact these people probably just slapped some things together, like, gave it to a publisher and actually got it sold.
Yeah. And okay, here's my biggest gripe in the industry. All right.
Right.
It seems like there's just a lack of honest talent out there right now.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously talented people, don't get me wrong here, okay? But like people who are going out there, doing their own thing, and creating amazing new things just seems to be far, and there too few of them. There are just too few of them nowadays, and I feel that especially in the Western Hollywood. It's not existent in Hollywood. There's nothing in Hollywood there that, or at least most of Hollywood, that I would even call that would fall under that umbrella. And the Japanese market, light novel market especially, isekai even more especially, is just getting hammered with cookie cutter stuff. And, where's our berserks? Where's our Avatar: The Last Airbenders? Where are those? Where did those go, huh?
Yeah.
Well, at least we know what happened to the last Airbender. We got the Dragon Prince instead.
Yeah, we don't talk about that other thing that came after the last Airbender.
I know.
Alright. Yeah, man. Well, as much as I would love to continue our lovely discussion, especially since Ryan brought up Berserk, he's got them grasses on, and nothing will go wrong. Unfortunately, we have gone past the 2-hour mark. So, so for our parting words, how about each of you esteemed guests of the show give your own nuggets of wisdom for any budding writers out there?
All right. Well, oh yeah, go first. Go for it.
No. You go first.
Yeah, I go first. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but okay. What? Let's not argue over it. Basically, all right. Wait, if you want to write something, and just do your own thing, have fun with it. All right. At the end of the day, that is what matters. All right. Just have fun. Write what you want. Have fun. That's my advice. That's what creative writing is basically all about.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Amanda?
That's where it stems. That's actually the best creative writing right there.
Yeah, and as for me, I would say go out there and live a little bit more. Because the more you experience, the more you're gonna have ideas to draw from in order to talk about. I'm talking about this more in the perspective of character development, character writing as well, because the more people you meet in real life and you know what drives them forward, the more you're able to sort of draw parallels between why certain characters behave a certain way, and then maybe that's how you're gonna write your next protagonists and stuff.
The podcast tells you to get a life 2021.
All right, this Justin, local underground kopitiam auntie and seamstress tells you to get a life.
It's great.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I know. And as for my own parting words for whoever of you out there that is interested of being a writer themselves, or are kind of wondering should I do it or should I not. All I can say is just do it. Just first thing comes to your mind, write it down. You feel like you want to type it out, just type it. Don't feel afraid of it being cringe, because let's face it, your very first thing is going to be cringe. It's going to be so cringe that you probably want to find the nearest hole and bury yourself in it. But if you keep at it, just keep writing and have the courage to actually show your writing to other people. Now, if you're too shy to show it to your family, there's always your friends. Failing that, there's always the aforementioned platforms of fanfiction. And there's also other platforms if you want to do original writing as well and you want to show your stuff there. Like show your stuff. Like whatever feedback you get, no matter how nicely received or how harsh it is, like learn whatever you can from it, and that is how you improve. And with that, we are going to bring this podcast to an end. Thank you so much, Ryan and Amanda, for agreeing to come to the show tonight or today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me too.
Yeah, and thank you to you, the viewer, for stopping by. To any of you who is interested in wanting to listen to the podcast, don't worry. There should be a VOD available by the time the stream ends. So if you want to clip it, by all means, go ahead. And as for the contacts of these lovely people, you can go look down in the description. You'll be able to see the links to Amanda's YouTube channel and Twitter, and also Ryan's Twitch channel, on the off chance he ever decides to stream Doom Eternal.
On the off chance, yes.
Yes. Also included is Amanda's link to her booth shop, because hey, she ain't a seamstress for nothing. She makes really good virtual threads.
Nice.
Right, and with that, I bid y'all goodbye. See you.